Have you ever considered using black magic to make your business thrive? Well, don't. So after I watched Sumala, I checked out Rocky Sorea's, not Rocky Sumala's, since they do sound so goddamn similar. I checked out his other produced film here on Netflix, and he has quite a few. He seems to have a deal with Netflix, or his company does, or whatnot. They make a good amount of the Indonesian horror that is dropped on Netflix. And so this one, The Curse of the Seven Seas, or on IMDb, The Curse of the Seven Oceans, that took me a minute to find, is about a family who has been using black magic when they shouldn't have. And of course, this comes back to bite them. This is set in, I think, in the 80s. These last couple that I've watched are period pieces. And we are following this family as they are dealing with the curse. The son in the opening has a surgery that he needs. The dad gets the money last minute, but after he has the surgery, his third eye becomes opened up, and he's able to see all the spirits around him. Then they have this shaman guy coming over, and he's like, I can partially close it, and the only ones you'll be able to see are the ones who want to be seen. After things really start to go wrong within the family, the remaining family members will say have to go out and find some stuff to break the curse or whatnot. Okay, so here's an interesting thing about this movie. It was actually really generic, and I was very blah on it, even though there are a couple surprising deaths, and they are fairly gruesome. CGI, of course, is implemented most of the time in these Indonesian horrors. You just have to accept that if you're going to watch them. And the acting in this one was rougher than like Sumala. I actually liked the acting in Sumala. Okay, like it's better than this one. This one, the acting was very all over the place for me, kind of rough, but I still did kind of like the family dynamic. I thought the brothers, the two brothers and the sister, and the mom and the dad, they got along pretty well. I was rooting for them. I was following along with it, and I do want to admit, of course, that I am not the target audience, right? This is a bit of a cultural disconnect for sure, right? I don't have any of these beliefs. I wasn't raised around any of this stuff. So this might hit much different if you are from this area, right? So I absolutely understand that and whatnot. So if there is something lost in translation there that would make me enjoy these more, I totally get it. But that being said, the film, maybe in its last 20 minutes, decides that we're going to go on some literal, I shouldn't say literal, but very similar kind of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows kind of mission. And it becomes this cool adventure film where people are trying to secure something in multiple different locations. The Seven Seas, if you can't get it from the title. And they save that for a very short amount of time towards the end. Now, unlike other Indonesian films, this one's actually shorter. This one's actually only an hour and a half. And so I was pretty surprised that the most interesting thing that finally ends up happening in the movie, after it's being so generic for most of the runtime, an hour and 10 minutes of it, we have these characters that go off on this mission, this adventure, and it's just so fast paced. And it's like, this is the interesting stuff. What they should have done with this film is they should have done everything they did in the hour and 20. They should have done it in 30 to 45 minutes, and then have the latter half, the last 45 minutes, be this quest This was the cool stuff. This is where the film started to pick up. And then we are shown our final antagonist, our final monster, the final demon. And he's pretty freaking cool. And he's ripping people apart. He's annihilating bodies and shit and tearing them apart. And I was like, where was this the rest of the film? The rest of the film was so generic, and while there is a couple good moments, and as I said, the family dynamic is all right, and I was into it enough, and it's very generic. It's very cut and paste. It's very classic Indonesian horror, which for me is not a terrible thing, but it's also like it really does feel all the same to me. And then it gets to this like last 20 minutes, and it turns into the type of film I said, and I'm like, man, why isn't there more of this? Why didn't the story focus more on this? The monster in the end actually reminded me a bit of Candisha, if you guys saw that movie, which I think is a very, very overlooked film from 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. I really liked those directors' work, so anyway, look it up. But yeah, I just it's okay-ish. It's like a totally watchable, fine, good-looking, not very well acted, generic Indonesian film, and then you get those last 20 minutes and you're just wondering what the hell were they thinking, not doing this for much more of that runtime. So yeah, not to continue to keep saying the same thing over and over, but it's really just like the feelings I had towards it. In the end, I was really bummed by that choice to save it, because it happened so fast, guys. They're expected to do something that would take a long time. Like, the whole movie could have been the last 20 minutes. You could make a TV series, like a full season, where each episode is them going to do one of the 7 things over 7 different episodes, and you have like the setup, which is an episode or 2 or 3, and then you have them going off on these little missions, and then the end, that'd be like a 10 episode miniseries. So I don't know why, and this is the shorter one. It's like Sumala could have been 20 minutes shorter, and if you were going to wait for the last 20 minutes of this movie, which I don't think is necessary, but if you were, this is the one that needs to be 20 minutes longer, because when they go, it's all just too easy. That's the problem with the ending. That's why it doesn't work, even though it's interesting and it's like cool, and it's like, I wish I would have got more of this. I would have wanted more of it so that they had time to actually make it hard to do. It's all very convenient. They just kind of go, they get it. They see some ghosts or whatever, and they leave. Next one, and they just keep doing that. It's like, this isn't complicated. There's nothing really going on here. And then the end, there's a bit of a fight, and that's a bit of a struggle, but that's also resolved very quickly. And you're just like, man, you guys should have put way more thought into the last act of this film and spread it out more. Anyways, all right, I'm gonna stop repeating myself, but it was all right. So, shame, but that is what it is. All right, I'll see you in the comments. Adios.